Was it hard going to Miami, leaving Cleveland, a franchise where you had already built relationships and connections, and now you're thrown into a new city to cover a different team, and you're doing it for a national outlet also, not as opposed to a local newspaper or something like. Was there animosity from other beat reporters who had been there for years?
There was animosity from LeBron. He was not crazy about it. He didn't like the way ESPN handled the fallout from the decision. He felt like he got left alone on an island there. None of this is new information. I mean, this has been said for years. And he really didn't like the idea of ESPN creating a team of people just to cover the Heat, which was kind of revolutionary at the time, which I was the lead guy on. And it was pretty salty the first year. I mean, if I say anything that was difficult about it, obviously moving, I had never lived away from Northeast Ohio. I went to college in Northeast Ohio, and I mean, I'm from Akron, but I was living in Cleveland for those 7 years. So, it's a 45-minute drive. I was still basically at home. So, yeah, it was a challenge to move away from home. But I was like 30. How old was I? I was 32. I mean, I was a grown adult. It was fine. But the thing that was frustrating was that I was branded as a sycophant for going. And I was down here in Miami, where I am right now, for the finals. And like LeBron was like not giving me the time of day. So like if I was going to be branded a sycophant, at least I would get the benefits of being a sycophant, right? Like, I'd be getting all the inside information and all the special access, but I wasn't. So that was a little bit frustrating. But again, I mean, like at the end of the day, who cares? Who cares? It's part of the deal. It's part of what you sign up for. And when you become a higher profile person, you face scrutiny. Like when you become an NBA player and you accept all of the benefits that come along with being an NBA player, it means that people are going to criticize you. When you become a national face that covers a high profile league like the NBA, people are going to criticize you. It is part of the deal. If you don't like it, you can leave the NBA. If I didn't like it, I could leave ESPN. I haven't been forced into this. I think it's a little bit, I don't think it has great perspective, but again, just like I would say about the aggregation, I would think that the NBA players who are criticized by people in the media or evaluated or reported on by people in the media probably think that we don't have the best perspective and we get it wrong sometimes. So I think, it's part and parcel of doing it. So it was a bit of an adjustment when I first came to Miami, but now it's just a part of life. And one of the things I'll say about LeBron that I feel pretty good about, he seems to be truly happy. He seems to be truly in a happy place. Maybe not when they lose in the playoffs, or maybe not when they have a bad season, as they've had a couple in LA. But my read on him is that he is a reasonably happy guy. And me personally, I live a pretty happy life. And so there's a lot of people in the NBA who do extraordinarily well financially, have this great life, and they're not happy. So I think if you can achieve happiness in the profession, whatever profession you're in, you're ahead. It's probably the most important thing I could say to somebody who's starting out in the profession: find a job that makes you happy. It sounds basic and stupid, and I would have ignored it when I was 18, but I think it's kind of true. And I think LeBron's found it, and I know I have. And so, if it means you get criticized every now and then, and that's fine.
That first year being a little rocky in Miami, covering the Heat and LeBron, do you think that was more so because of some like animosity towards ESPN, or was it just the fact that you went to Miami to cover the Heat? Like, would there have been an issue, do you think, if you got a job with the Miami Herald?
No, I think it was for me, it was in Cleveland, where I had enjoyed basically a stress-free ride. I was covering a team that was extremely popular and for years had generally had nothing but good news. I mean, they had some defeats in the playoffs and stuff, but in relatively medium-sized Cleveland, I enjoyed a very positive Q rating. And this is a place where I was born and raised. And so, most of the stuff I was reporting on was positive. That 60-win Cavs team was doing great. I wasn't, having to, I would criticize the team when I had to and criticize personnel moves, but, nothing was too severe. And then the city got hit with one of the worst setbacks in sports. I say one of, because, when I was 17, they lost the Browns. So one of the worst, blows in the history of the sports of the city, which in a lot of cases defines the soul of the city. It's not like, a river catching on fire, for example, but, it felt that way to a lot of folks. And I became a sort of a secondary symbol of that. And so I wasn't used to it. I had a public Facebook page in 2010, where like people could comment on it and my family would see it. And, that was fine. That was no problem. It was just everything part of life. And I had to shut it down because I didn't want my family members to see what people were saying about me. And I literally have not been on Facebook since 2010. I had to get off because of that sort of stuff. And I don't think it was personal, but I was somebody that they could get to in a way and have vitriol. And so, but again, in the grand scheme of things, it's not like, the Ukraine war. I received some nasty things that people said to me in public, and, people shot spitballs at me when I would come to games, and I had to shut down, various aspects of social media. At the end of the day, it was fine. There's no problem, but, it was definitely an adjustment period. And, that's just part of life. But again, if you're going to take all that flack for being a sycophant, at least get the positive side, the positive aspects of being a sycophant. I didn't get the positive aspects of being a sycophant because I was doing a job. So that was the only thing that ever really was frustrating.